A healthy comeback statement is, I should correct myself, a healthy comeback line is a statement, a thought, attitude, mannerism, movements, words, or assertions that allow an individual to say to themselves, I reject your rejection of me. And I'll reiterate that, right? I reject your rejection of me. So we're trying to think about, like, how can we respond to someone's statement, behavior, etc. So let's look at this. So what are some sample comeback lines? Well, we could respond with even just like, just letting time elapse and saying, can you say that again? This gives you time to process. And inside you might be screaming expletives. You might be cursing out in your brain, right? But it gives you time to process some more by asking them to say that again. We've talked about using the ouch, or, sorry, what? Or pausing, speaking slowly, and saying something like, maybe what you are saying, and then, filling in the blank. Or, excuse me. Or, I wonder why you would say that, right? These are things that you can say that give you more time to process, what to do next. So now I'm going to give you different kinds of comeback statements from a resource by Goodman. And what I want you to do as I go through these is think of a microaggression that you've experienced or witnessed, and keep that in mind as I go over each of these on the slides. So one thing is to restate or paraphrase, right? We could, like before, can you say that again? Having them say it again. But now this one is restating or paraphrasing what they said so that they hear back what they just said. I think I heard you saying, and then you paraphrase their comments. Is that correct? That can be a helpful comeback statement. Or asking for clarification or more information. Could you say more about what you mean by that? Or how have you come to think that? Again, when they tell you more, then they start thinking about what they just said. This can be very helpful. You can acknowledge the feelings behind the statement. And so again, it all depends on what was said, what was done, and which of these is best. But again, these are all different options. So it sounds like you're really frustrated or whatever it is, nervous, angry, and then say, add a next comment after that. I understand that you're upset when you feel disrespected, and then you can, that's prefaces what else you could say after that. Or we've talked about the difference between intent and impact. I know you didn't realize this, but when you fill in the blank, and you know what they did, it was hurtful because, and then you fill in the blank. Instead, you could have, and again, give them another way to have said something, whatever that is. And again, these are all different types of strategies that I'm presenting you. Share your own process. I noticed that you, and then you fill in what they did. I used to do or say that too, and then I learned, and so you could share how you now handle something. Express your feelings. When you said X, Y, and Z, I felt offended, or whatever it is, right? And you use I statements. And sometimes, and that could be us as witnesses, we don't want to speak for someone else, but if we're there as a bystander, you know, we speak for ourselves that I was offended by what you said. Okay, we don't want to speak for a target. We want to challenge a stereotype, right? So someone says something that is very stereotypic, microaggression, and then you could counter it, right? Actually, in my experience, and you fill in the blank, or I think that's a stereotype, I've learned that, fill in the blank. Another way to look at it is fill in the blank, right? You could also appeal to values and principles. I know you really care about so-and-so. Acting in this way really undermines those intentions. We can promote empathy. Ask how they would feel if someone said something like that about their group or their friend, partner, child. I know you don't like the stereotypes about, and you put in their group. How do you think he feels when he hears those things about his group or their group? How would you feel if someone said that about, said that about or did that to your sister or girlfriend? Here's another one. Come on, you're too smart to say something so ignorant or offensive. Again, it all depends on your relationship with the person. This is a good one. Pretend you don't understand. And as it says on the slide, as people try to explain their comments, they often realize how silly they sound. I don't get it. Can you tell me again? Explain what you mean, right? Or they make a joke and it's not funny. And, we could say, oh, that's not funny, that's not cool. But we could ask them, why is that funny? And then they have to explain it. Or we can use some sarcasm back. Or this is an example. So someone says, oh, this person plays like a girl. She plays like a girl? You mean she plays like Serena Williams or Mia Hamm, right? Again, each of these strategies has a place, depending on context. This is a strategy that uses commonality to help make a point. I'm tired of hearing your Muslim jokes. Do you know he's also studying blank, right? So something similar to the perpetrator, and likes to blank, and something similar again to make links to, this person does things or has similar interests to you. It's that kind of message. You may want to talk with him about that. You actually have a lot in common. This is what's in it for them. So this is where you explain why diversity or that individual or group can be helpful or valuable. Again, all of these have a place and, a good fit or not. I know you're not comfortable with blank, but they can help us reach out to better serve other groups on campus in the community. In the real world, we're going to have to work with all sorts of people, so we might as well learn how to do it here. Okay? So now this is now the last slide. Now, so the prior slides were how to respond when you are the target of a microaggression or a bystander, you witness it. What if someone calls you out on something you said? And so these are strategies for how to respond if you are the microaggressor. So obviously first, we have to try not to get defensive, right? Try not to be defensive. Second, acknowledge the other person's hurt, apologize, and reflect. Lean into your discomfort, sit in your own yuck, as we've said in class. And third, remember, it's like death by 1,000 nicks or getting thousands of mosquito bites. So we need to be mindful of that and really not get defensive and try to learn and do better next time. All right? All right, thanks everyone. I look forward to seeing you in class. Bye.